I want your soul. Greetings and salutations, all you beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Art of the Beholder, a show dedicated to all things eclectic in the world of art, where we do deep dives into deep cuts and help you understand why damn things matter. I'm your host, Novo Day, and today we're going to be talking about art and music, focusing on the ADM mad scientist himself, and that is Aphex Twin. To hash things out, we're once again joined by my favorite twin. That's Mr. Theodore T. Buckingham. Welcome back to the show, Buck.
Thanks for having me. I also like to thank the companies of Pfizer, Merck, Eli Lilly for making the drugs that are making me be able to do this. I'm a little banged up, but I'm here and I'm excited.
He pulled a hammy. He's
During
we should
practice,
we should probably
podcast practice.
Well, we should probably tell the good people. We don't talk about this a lot, but Buck is training and participates in AMA. He's a Ultimate Fighting champion. He doesn't like to brag about it, but he's kind of a big deal.
Yep, I know Scottish martial arts, and if you get that reference,
and Conor McGregor.
Yeah, exactly. It's called "Fuck You."
Okay. Those are the Ireland martial arts.
Oh, those are the Irish, but the Scottish one.
Irish,
That's So I Married an Axe Murderer reference.
Ooh. Is that a Mike Myers?
Yeah. An underrated cut. Mike Myers.
Oh, I love that movie, man.
It's a great movie.
That's a great movie. Yeah. But today we're here to talk about Aphex Twin. And you know why. This has been literally since the inception of the show. We knew this day would come.
It's a big one. I'm surprised we've made it this far without talking about it.
I couldn't agree more. Probably, it probably should have came before the Boards of Canada show, to be honest, in a way. Because don't you think like Boards was probably influenced by Aphex Twin?
Yeah.
Or is it parallel? They were kind of together at the same time.
I think it.
Or is it chicken and egg? Like
this is a chicken and egg scenario. I don't know. I think there might have been some bleeding in between both of them a little bit, but I would say Aphex Twin, it's kind of like our King Crimson.
Yes
episode.
And no. It's such a Aphex Twin is such a different beast.
Yeah.
So let's tell. That's a good segue. Let's tell the good people why we're talking about Aphex Twin today, because Aphex Twin created a sound, Buck, and not just any sound in music history, such a unique sound that to this day, in this endless sea of fucking content we call the music industry, he's never quite been replicated before, has he? Never.
No.
No one is Aphex Twin. Yes. No one is Aphex Twin. And thus, his sound stands as a testament to the epitome of musical artistry. So we got a lot to talk about today. But before we can discuss, of course, we all need a little background. I'm keeping the Bucktastic. I'm keeping the background short today because
it's a lot to talk about.
Aphex Twin makes so much fucking music.
Yeah, it's hard. We're not going to cover everything.
We're not going to cover everything. We're going and we'll get to this. The man behind Aphex Twin is a singular man. It's not a duo because most electronic acts are duos, a la Daft Punk, Justice. We already talked about Boards of Canada. Orbital, who he used to tour with, but Aphex Twin is one man. He has a team of managers and publicists and all the shit around him, but Aphex Twin is none other than Richard D. James, born on August 18th, 1971 in Limerick, Ireland. And I will sum up the background with this. He is considered the most inventive and influential figure in contemporary electronic music. Full stop.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
There's a lot of juicy content, a lot of history to dive into. But before we do, guys, we're going to take a little break. Hear from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by novel Til The Bitter endemic. What if there was a happy ending to a pandemic? Perhaps an unexpected love story. After Daisy gets thrust into mandatory quarantine for an infection she can't explain, it's up to her to unravel the truth as to what's behind it and what she can ultimately do to escape it. But she can't do this alone, and that's where she finds not only herself, but a very special person that opens their heart for the betterment of their survival. Find out how in Til The Bitter Endemic, coming soon.
All right, Buck, we are back, and now it's time to do the damn thing. But before we do, of course, we're going to give the good people a primer, as we always do, because for all the people out there that's never heard Aphex Twin, I'm looking at you, Riles. We need to. I've been doing that a lot. It's kind of turning into a bit. I think we did that on the King Crimson and the Court of the Crimson King episode, where I was like, for all those people that have never heard King Crimson, I'm looking at you, Riles.
Actually, you know what we should do is we should have him listen to it and like just a podcast of his reactions.
Well, I actually texted him today because I was thinking about doing another Hot D episode.
Ooh,
House of the Dragon.
okay.
But I just finished the season yesterday, and I was a little underwhelmed with this season. The season was transitory and not epic, or like it's clearly a bridge. It is the King of Limbs.
I think
it is the King of Limbs for the rest of the story arc. It was still good, to keep in with that analogy, compared to everything else, it is still so much better than what is out there. But I'm not sure if we would have a lot to talk about with another Hot D episode. So I'm gonna wait until we're probably into season 3 or 4, and we'll circle back.
Yeah, I think I read it today. I think the best review of it is we just watched a preview for season 3. The entire season 2 is a preview for season 3, which I think will be hopefully very epic if you know actually what happens.
Oh yeah. TV Del Rio has read. We have the book on.
Okay, yeah, I read it, and
it's pretty epic.
It's if they
I like Mushroom's rendition of it though. That's my favorite one.
Well, no, I think if they hold true, this will be like one of the best seasons of television, hopefully.
Okay, well if it's truly that, we'll do a show, because it
just was kind of meaningless.
We like to appreciate, we don't like to hate. So I don't, if you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all kind of attitude, what your mom taught you when you're a kid. I think we're gonna hold off. So my whole point about bringing that up was I was texting him to see if he had seen it, because I was thinking about doing a show and having him on the show so he could talk about it. And one, he said, I've only seen 3 or 4 episodes, so he's way behind. And 2, he doesn't even have a mic or headphones yet, so he can't even play ball yet. So
okay,
he needs to lock it up. Riles, if you're listening right now, buy that mic, buy that headphone. We'll do a little sound test. We should do after hours with him, because then we can talk about whatever. We can talk about just it doesn't matter if he's seen it or not, or knows of the thing what we're talking about or not, because he can just be he can just ramble. Let me pull it back. Let's do a Novo pullback. We've been talking about this for way too long.
Sorry,
because
folks.
Riles,
behind the curtain.
Now is the time for me to tell you about Aphex Twin, because Aphex Twin is, goddamn, it is unique. So for the good people, including him, Buck, if they have never heard an Aphex Twin track, try in the easiest terms to explain it to the good people.
Beauty and chaos.
Yes. Ooh, I like it. There's 2 sides to Aphex Twin, isn't there? There's 2 sides. Explain, elaborate, explore.
So he's like, they basically created a genre of music because of him, called intelligent dance music, which he hates.
That's why we call it abstract dance music.
Yeah,
it's not intelligent. We created our own genre for him because he hates it.
Yeah, but it kind of, and there's other people before him that kind of did this, talking about pioneers like Brian Eno and Kraftwerk and stuff like that. But he really kind of, his style and method, there's really none. It's basically, I would say digital. I'm going to use a word from Tron 20 Was it
Give it to us.
2009? It's digital jazz, man.
Ooh, digital jazz.
Yeah.
That's the more chaotic side
Yeah.
of Aphex Twin. His rhythms are mind-boggling.
Yes.
The stuff he comes up with.
They're crazy. I mean, some would say he was kind of the basis for drum and bass,
drill and bass, jungle, what dubstep, with a lot of EDM turned into. We never had without our Aphex Twin.
So he's probably, like, I would say, the foundation of that sound. But then I don't think he's totally constrained to that. He's very talented, not only with how he created his music, which he was a pioneer in that as well, but also, you know, he can play piano. He's an instrumentalist, and he's played with prepared pianos. And
I have a question for you on that note.
Yeah.
Do you think that he had traditional training or learned it maybe as he was going on? And do you think he actually uses any kind of MIDI keyboards to create the melodies and harmonies that he tends to gravitate towards? Or do you think everything he does is purely digital, like inside the computer? And I wouldn't say old school electronic music, but probably newer school, you know, a little post analog.
I know he has no formal music training, but I think he's definitely self-taught. I think
like when we hear Avril 14th, or, you know, Phlegm, you know, like the prettier Aphex Twin songs, do you think he's actually like working those out on a piano or on a keyboard, on electric, you know, MIDI?
I think it's a combination.
Okay.
Of both. I think originally, you know, he was using a lot of computer stuff and doing a lot of it in there, but like, I think
drum machines
and drum machine, like the 808
approach.
The 808 was, you know, the kind of the classic drum sound. That was a pretty common one back in the late 80s. But I think he's kind of, you know, he's formed a lot of the sound by kind of just mashing both of those together. But I think his early work was really heavily digital. And then when we get to his later stuff, you know, he's got some piano stuff in it. He's, you know, other sounds, but he's a mad scientist.
He's a mad scientist.
He has a track that if you put it through, if you visualize the sound waves on a piece of software or anything like that,
it's actually the Window Liquor EP.
Yes,
it's formula or equation depending on how you want to read the track or the nomenclature. So the actual track title is an equation, but it's usually dubbed just equation or formula on like track listings.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you hear it, it's just noise,
just weird nonsense.
But if you put it through a visual wave guide, it's his face.
It makes that very famous evil grin. And I have a T-Book Tangent corner for you.
Okay, yes.
The horror film, now franchise, Smile, where people show off creepy smiles, owe an entire debt to Aphex Twin and Richard D. James for his eerie smile that he at one point put on every single cover, and he still does in a kind of a way to this day. Or the A symbol, his little A symbol for Aphex Twin, looks like a guy bending over, but it's a letter A.
Yeah, it's his that face thing, and we'll talk about it later. His kind of obsession with his kind of face and stuff like that, or he doesn't do it anymore, but like I used to play Come to Daddy at a lot, the video during Halloween a lot, and I believe
Nightmare Fuel, man.
Yeah, that's what I was told. Somebody goes, this is like Nightmare Fuel, or this is what I think. I'm seeing an actual nightmare.
I'm glad you brought that up, because his public persona and his private persona couldn't be more different.
Exactly.
Because you can tell he likes to mess with us.
Mm-hmm.
And by us, I mean the media. Like, if people that have done interviews with him, like, he almost never does interviews. He never does, especially like on camera interviews. It's usually audio only or text only. I think Pitchfork, the last one I read was a text only from Pitchfork.
Yeah.
And he he likes to throw us some white lies about who he is, what he's done, what he's doing. When versus when you actually read about his true public life, he's just like a regular guy with a family making music kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. And he'll like show up randomly sometimes and just start playing sets at certain places and stuff. I've heard he's done that. Yeah, he's you don't really know what's
Yeah,
actually the
you
truth.
don't know where he, like Richard D. James ends and Aphex Twin begins.
Yeah.
Or the million monikers, kind of in the vein of MF Doom. He has 1,000,001 monikers because, again, much like the other artists we like to cover on the show, he's in it for the art. He's not in it to make $1 bajillion, even though he has, and he kind of doesn't like the fame. He kind of like, I think he's a little shy. He's one of those guys. But as soon as something kind of blows up, what does he do? He starts to release music under a different pseudonym so he can focus on the music, focus on the craft, focus on the art without all of the, all of the publicity getting in the way. But he wants to get it to the people, he wants to get it into your hands. And a lot of it, he used to give it away for free. He didn't care.
Yeah.
Let's go
And I
through
love that.
let's go through a few of them just to give you an idea of the scope of output he does. So he has made music. The most famous one, obviously, as already stated, Aphex Twin, but also we have monikers including AFX, Polygon Window, Mike and Rich, which is technically a collaboration, Rich being Richard, Power Pill, Caustic Window, Bradley Strider, GAC, The Tuss, Blue Calyx, The Universal Indicator, Smoge Face, PBOD, Phonic Boy on Dope, Q-Chastic, Dice Man, So It P, Dot P, and user 180819171. And honestly, there's probably more that we don't even know about yet.
Yeah, I was going to say I've heard somebody say that there's even stuff we've heard that he's done, but we'll never know that it's him.
Because sometimes he'll fuck with us. He'll be like, "Oh, I didn't do that," when it's clear. It's kind of like Stephen King and his, pseudonym. Like, they have such a style and such a sound and such a look and aesthetic to their voicing, in this case music for this artist, that you listen to it and you're like, I think that's Aphex Twin. I think that's you, Richard, not this other person.
And I mean, like, for a while before, Burial, he kind of got doxxed, but a lot of people thought it might have been him at that time when he was kind of unknown. And I would say too, kind of jumping ahead a little bit, I don't know of another electronic artist that's out as big of an influence as Aphex Twin, Burial being kind of another one in there, but definitely, the lineage there.
One of Tricks Point Never. I feel like there's a lot of guys and gals out in the scene that are spiritual successors to Aphex Twin.
Yeah, I agree.
Besides Burial, there's a lot of good stuff. You just have to do a little digging.
Yeah.
So let's talk music.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's talk music. And guys, obviously, he makes so much goddamn music. We're going to just focus on the Aphex Twin discography because that is his most famous, and most people that's his life stream. His Final Fantasy VII live stream. That is his connective tissue. That's what everything else touches, and everything else touches it. Is the Aphex Twin lineage of output, because we start in 1991. Buck, we're going back with EP Analog Bubble Bath. What's funny is that, like, when he continued the EP Analog Bubble Bath volumes, he switched to AFX. So, but the very first one, Aphex Twin, was AFX. That one. But we didn't get a proper outing, LP1, until we got Selected Ambient Works 85 to 92, or Volume 1, however you want to do it, because the second one's called Volume 2. And this guy, you know what? Re-listening to this guy, man, is Aphex Twin his simpler days. But before the chaos, before the Pandora's box opened.
And it's considered a classic still. I mean, it's
but it's just like house techno.
Yeah,
it's simple, 4 on the floor. Rhythms are simple, melodies are simple. It's old school, techno, 90s era techno.
And you can. And by the way, we should mention it's 1985 to 1992. So I think in 85 he would have been 13 or 14.
Yeah, his first. So a lot of this catalog, a lot of these, this compilation of works is when he was still a teenager.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, but you can kind of hear in some of the music too. If you listen to it, he's just really experimenting with a lot of stuff. Like some of the melodies,
He's
like
figuring it out.
yeah,
Absolutely. You can tell he's figuring out his own formula.
if you've ever played with a keyboard or a synthesizer and you're just kind of like playing around or trying to write a song or do anything like that, some of it sounds exactly like that. Like some of the little things he's doing, I'm like, oh, he's just kind of trying something here.
But
then,
it works. It works, but then he experimented with the craziness.
Yeah.
With Didgeridoo EP, the Xylem Tube EP, 1992 on 1993, and then remember, guys, there's two sides to Aphex Twin. There's the crazy, chaotic techno, electronica, jungle, drill and bass, drum and bass, but then there's the true ambient set of pieces, and we finally get that on LP2, Selected Ambient Works Volume 2 in 1994. And this isn't just a double LP. This is a quad, a 4 LP set. So remember compact discs, Memba
when? Yeah.
Memba?
Remember when we would put them in those damn things and they would just get scratched
those jewel cases?
Oh God!
It took four CDs to make Selected Ambient Works Volume 2.
Impressive, and it's usually like I don't think it's as popular as the first one, but it's a totally different sound.
I think it's actually more popular than the first one. I beg to differ, young man. Yes, right. I think more people love Volume 2 than Volume 1.
So, yeah.
And it's true ambience. It is like number 3. So the tracks are not named; they're just listed from literally number 1 to 24, something like that. And but track number 3 is just
perfect.
Just float me off to heaven.
What you need to do on a night is you need to get the Brian Eno ambient stuff and then work your way through this. This is a nice continuation of that. He kind of took that kind of Brian Eno sound and really went with it in his own way.
Absolutely. No, he did. And when ambience, how should we describe, especially the Aphex Twin ambient pieces? It really doesn't have a beginning, middle, and end like a traditional song structure. It is just one continuous movement. It changes very little. It's very atmospheric. There is sometimes a melody, like number 3 has a very distinct melody, and this is when I was ooh. You want to go to a little music theory corner?
Yeah, let's do it.
Riles, you can pause it here. Pause it here. Or fast forward it. Because I tried to, because when I listened to all of his stuff, I noticed that he gravitated towards a very similar sounding melodies. Mm-hmm. And I was really hoping to find, I was like, oh, he always writes in, this key or this scale or something like that. I didn't find that. I did find something, the closest thing to it though, Buck, and it is this. He often writes in sharp minor keys. So the big ones are A sharp minor, D sharp minor, F sharp minor. And he often writes in the mode Phrygian modes. Not to be confused with scales. They are technically different scales and modes. But there is somewhat of a gravitation towards the melodies he likes to write with his synth lines. Mm-hmm. And they're often sharp minors.
Wow. I love hearing when you get deep into the music theory. I learned so much on this. And that's really cool that there's at least some forethought into it. I love when you dissect that.
I'm not sure if there is forethought. Okay. I think
just so you like the sound.
Well, he likes it. Yeah. Okay. Every artist that, especially when they have a unique style and sound, and like you can listen to it and be like, oh, that's Aphex Twin. I think he just gravitates towards certain sounds and textures, and definitely fucking rhythms. And he keeps going back to, but obviously, we've talked about his really sweet, ballad pieces, piano, solo piano pieces like in Drugs and stuff like that. And so of course there's major keys too, there's more major stuff. And the very basics are, for the people that don't know, the minor and major is in reference to the emotion that it evokes. Minors are a little more sad, melancholic. Majors are a little more happy, a little more upbeat.
I would say I gravitate to more of a minor key.
Oh yeah. Sad happy.
Happy.
Beautiful, beautiful sadness.
Beautiful sadness. I like my whiny music from the 90s. You know, what is it?
Yeah. We're seeing a lot of that now, 2000s, 2000s, and now in the
It's starting to come back a little bit.
2020s.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that that whiny drone. But there's almost none of that in Aphex Twin, except when he uses vocals in the most unique way ever, where it's literally an instrument.
I think my favorite line. Sorry, a quote from T-Buck Change Corner. Quote from actually Clueless.
Oh, I love Clueless.
She says, "Yuck, the maudlin music of the university station," and they're playing. I believe it's Radiohead in the background. But
of course,
that's my kind of thing. The maudlin music.
Is it? Shocker! Station. It's like we did like a whole 3-piece, essay on that kind of shit.
We did. Yeah.
And that brings us to 1995's I Care Because You Do, where we first get the very famous Aphex Twin, Richard D. James, creepy smile looking at you. That's a self-portrait.
It's a self-portrait,
on that LP. Yeah. And this is where also, if Selected Ambient Works Volume 1, 85-92 is him figuring things out, this third LP is him finding himself.
Yeah. He's starting to form that Aphex Twin sound.
Yeah.
And it's really starting to come along. And so it's kind of a cool path when you listen to all this stuff and other artists do this too, but like you start seeing where they're headed.
Yeah.
Especially if you know their later stuff first, it starts making sense. So this is when I feel like, like 4, obviously the title, the first track, but Finger Bib, this is really where we start kind of getting into that sound. And it's almost like video game like a little bit like that classic 8-bit 16-bit sound.
Honestly, Flim makes me think of Sonic, the original Sonic the Hedgehog video game. Like I forgot what like the levels always called something like Canyon Grove or something like 1-1, but but that
I know what you mean though. Yeah.
But Flim makes me think of that. That melody makes me think of 16-bit era video game level music, like you can just hear that on repeat in your head.
Yeah. And I think some of these songs, I know that some of them were used in commercials and stuff like that, or they've seem familiar, like 4 especially. You can hear that really tight drum beat, what 4
I mean? Is track 1, right?
Yeah.
On I Care Because
track 1 is called 4, excuse me. But you can it's confusing. Yeah, but you can really kind of hear that thing where he kind of uses his snares and kind of a crescendo as they slow down. He kind of goes back to that kind of same thing in a lot of his songs later on. So yeah, it's the blueprint for everything that comes later.
And I think he's one of the rare, I don't have any evidence for this, so this is just pure speculation, but I think he's one of the rare electronic artists that writes drum lines per bar.
Mm-hmm.
Most, I'm looking at you, Dead Mouse, they write a drum line, or a pulse, and then they just like hold their cursor over it and pull it over to the end of the song, like 4 minutes. So it's the exact same thing through the whole thing. But Aphex Twin, I think every bar or 2, he changes it. He writes it as he goes and changes it every single time. That's why it's so chaotic.
Yeah. And you really hear that too with Cornish Acid when it first comes on. You start just hearing kind of this, these kind of bouncing around sounds and notes, and it's like almost. I almost want to say it's like it's like the calmness of okay. So sorry,
take your time.
Blah, 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 blah. Let me verse.
I'll cut that in, or I'll keep it in. I don't know. Sounds like I kind of like it.
When you're talking about the first LPs that came out, those are kind of the calmness before the storm, and this is like not the storm hitting, but the wind's starting to pick up.
Yeah,
you're starting to see the lightning and thunder.
I got you, Buck. I know where you're going with this because we have a bridge with EPs Vinylin and Donkey Rhubarb in 1995, but now we get to that storm. We get to that storm in 1996 with the Richard D. James album.
Yeah.
And this is, if I Care Because You Do is I found myself, like I have arrived. Richard D. James to me is the breakthrough.
Yep.
I've not only arrived, I can do anything now.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just we're there. We're going full in. We've jumped into the water. We've headed into the storm. It's like I said, beauty and chaos.
And if you're wondering, we keep talking about his cheeky grin, his creepy horror film smile grin. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this now. I'm gonna use this LP for like the promotional thumbnails and stuff. So if you're wondering what it is, just click right here, like or go back, hit the back arrow, and look at the thumbnail. That's what we're talking about. Right there. Got it? See it?
Just click it. See it.
Okay.
It's right there. No, hold on. You missed it.
No, wait, go back.
Go back.
Okay. Right there.
Right
there
there.
it is. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yep, there you got it.
Because this is the same era. So 1996 to about 1999 is probably when Aphex Twin is probably the biggest he's ever been. And probably, I would feel like this is kind of the peak of his career. He's resurfaced, obviously. That's why we're talking about him in the last few years. But I feel like 1996, Richard D. James. And then, of course, we've been joking about this so much before we went on air, is EP's Girl Boy 1996. And then Come to Daddy.
Come to Daddy.
In 1997. So EP Come to Daddy is when most of us found Aphex Twin, myself included, Buck. Did you know that?
I did not know this was the one that you did.
This was the one, because as much as so when you listen to track 1 on EP Come to Daddy and you hear I want your soul, I will eat your soul. When you hear that when you're a little kid, you think it's the best thing that's ever been invented ever. Like, you're like, oh my, this is, of course, as we got older and became adults and studied this stuff, this was a parody of metal music. Like, he was making fun of things. But when you're a kid and don't know any better, you think it is the coolest fucking thing on the planet.
You think it's like you're going to headbang to this, and this is like he created like almost a metal, like electronic metal anthem here.
Yes.
And here's one thing too for people our age, and when you have little kids, or not little, but like, they're a little older, show them the music video and just tell them this is what the 90s were like.
Actually, how old? I don't know. We should have a disclaimer. Maybe 15, 14?
I think if you got a kid,
I feel like if he was 12 or younger, it could be like traumatizing.
I think 12 to 13, they can
really handle it. You think they can handle it?
I mean, my grandpa.
I guess we were 12 and 13 when this came out, and we came out all right. Well, sorta. Now I'm thinking about it, maybe that is the greatest thing to do. But yeah, if you just want to mess with, just tell them this is what the 90s were like. Frightening, scary. Don't do that.
No.
Okay, do that. No,
do it. It's kind of funny.
Do it.
Yeah, show them that, and then show them like immediate after this, like
window liquor. Show them the LP like cover art first, because it's his.
Oh, it's freaking hilarious.
It's the cheeky Richard D. James grin, photoshopped on a big breasted like Playboy lady. Bunny.
Yeah, remember this is the 90s, so large fake breasts were very popular at this time. And and I'm not saying this because you watch rap videos in this era, and that's, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but
where are we going with the rap video reference?
Window Liquor is another parody, the video at least, of all the rap videos that were out at that time.
That is true. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like the first time, a lot of his old and new self came together to make a truly EDM track. Like, it's actually pretty dancey. Yeah, is Window Liquor.
Window Liquor, and that's actually the first. That's what I got how I got introduced to Aphex Twin.
But before we go too far off, Come to Daddy, I want to say one thing, and I want your 2 cents. I want you to bounce off of this statement. When I heard and reheard just this last week, Bucephalus Bouncing Ball, I realized
I can already hear it without.
Aphex Twin is not only a pioneering artist in his own right, he's a genius.
Yeah, this one is it's different. It literally sounds like somebody
like a ball. Yeah,
like a ball bouncing. I almost used to think it was like, it sounded like the ratchet, like a socket wrench, that kind of, the when you turn it up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
kinda
Yeah.
almost
We don't
sounds
know
like
exactly how he's making these sounds
No.
because I think he makes his own samples too. He'll like record something that he likes. It probably is a real ball then, if I had to guess in this case.
Yeah.
And then he would turn that into a trigger on. He probably can hit it on a MIDI keyboard or something to create the sounds that he makes. But the rhythms, though, I don't know how he makes sense of it. But he does. It shouldn't work. It's another one of those, like, we talk about this all the time on our show, like music that shouldn't work but does somehow. That's the difference between like just a skilled professional and like a genius artist.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And I think, like you said, I think that's, to me, artistically and creatively, that is the standout song on this, or standout track. It's not the most popular track. Actually,
Phlegm is.
It's a beautiful...
Phlegm is a pretty one.
That's
the other
beautiful
side. That's the ambient, pretty. Yeah. I'm gonna write a pretty melody for once.
And you might have heard of it.
That's the Sonic Hedgehog. Yeah. That's the Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog
song.
Yeah,
to me.
They've used it for things, and it's been covered a lot.
With real instruments. Yeah,
the Bad Plus, and actually, one of the first combos we had was talking about that cover, Bad Plus. So, it's cool. And
are you familiar with Domi and JD Beck? It's like a duo set of musicians.
I am not. No.
It's a female pianist and a drummer. That's the whole group.
Percussionist
is the two of them, and they will cover Phlegm and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, please do.
One thing about this, I told you before, I have a funny story about this. I was listening to this one night, and as young people do, they go out and have fun. They go and cause some havoc, menace to society. No, but I'm listening to this before I go out, and I'm giving my friend a ride. And little do I know, I've been listening to this album because I like it. Turn on the car, plug in the old iPod Nano to the auxiliary port.
Gotcha.
Starts playing what I last listened to. I have to get out and check something. What I don't know is playing is Funny Little Man. And when I get back in the car, I hear this, and I'm like, oh, crap. This sounds weird. And she goes, what the hell is this song? And, I think it's to me, I like it. It's weird and kind of creepy.
There's a humorous side to Richard. He has a funny side.
It's a funny side.
There's a comedic side to his work.
Yeah. And so it's definitely, if you don't know what you're listening to, it's kind of off-putting. But I was curious if anybody, is this like their favorite Aphex Twin song? And sure enough, I found a Reddit post where this guy just went in a whole thing about how he loves this song.
Like conspiracy theory level.
Oh, yeah.
Rabbit hole shit.
Loves it. It's his favorite Aphex Twin song. And so I just love it because if you hear it, you'll immediately understand why it's so interesting to me.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And that leads us to 2001's LP Drugs. And for the longest time, I always thought he has the weirdest titles to things, guys.
Yeah.
And this is that album where I thought he was just kind of making up shit. I later learned that a lot of these are original Cornish language translations. Mm-hmm. That's why it sounds so weird.
Yeah, because he grew up. He was born in
Cornwall.
Yeah, Cornwall. Yeah,
Cornwall. Yeah.
Sorry to our Cornish friends.
I think he still lives. Well, no, I don't think he lives there anymore. Anyways, the point is it was a different language. Is the point?
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Drugs is divisive. Drugs is kind of a Drugs is. I feel like it's a lot of piano ballads here, and then a lot of crazy chaos. So there's a lot going on with Drugs. Did you like, or were you on the, I don't know, that side of the fence?
It's hit or miss for me on this one.
Yeah. It's a lot of, here's the thing about Aphex Twin. He writes so much that I think he has a hard time categorizing and collecting pieces to put on an outing.
Yeah.
And sometimes they work. I'm looking at you, Cyro. They really work. Like, Jesus Christ, you nailed it. And then sometimes it's kind of a mishmash. And this is a mishmash to me. Like, it's just I don't know what he was trying to do here, but here we are. I do like April. I bet it's April 14th. April 14th.
Yeah, it's the most popular track according to Spotify on that
Most
album.
popular track I think ever.
Yeah, and it's very pretty.
Film, TVs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's been in a ton of stuff.
Commercials. Yeah.
And he also was doing. He was definitely becoming more commercially
sensitive.
Well, no, popular. I think
popular.
Like he's becoming more mainstream, as mainstream as you can probably get. And some of that was, he had some very interesting music videos too.
Oh yeah,
that
we already talked about "Come to Daddy" and "Window Liquor."
Yeah, but the other one I'm thinking of is Rubber Johnny, and that was like he worked with Chris Cunningham a lot on his videos. But Rubber Johnny is another one. If you really want to, frighten the kids, tell them this is what the '90s were like too when you watch it. But I'm kind of I like track number 7. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. It's Black Chord.
Yep, that one.
Love that song.
Nailed it.
Yep,
nailed it.
Number 2, second track, Vord Hosbn.
Nailed it again. Nailed it. I'm gonna leave that in.
You know what? It's probably not even phonetically correct. It's kind of like Irish names where you think it's phonetically
Saoirse, like Saoirse Ronan,
where it looks like Sorcy or something like that.
Yeah,
it's probably the same thing. English language and its derivatives.
You go to hell and you die.
Yep.
And we didn't have a proper LP for 13 years with 2014 Cyro. And I think a lot of people, here's where the other aliases come in. I think a lot of people look at his discography and he's like, oh, he's taking a little breather, taking a little break from the music industry. No. He made so much fucking music under different aliases, monikers. In 2004, he made the Analord series alone, which is like 1,000,001 EPs. But he also made a bunch of other EPs and one LP through his other aliases. So he was not taking a break, is my point. But as Aphex Twin, he didn't make anything didn't release anything. He was still making stuff until 2014. And I'm just gonna start this one with saying I love this album. I think it's my favorite one.
I was trying to think of the same thing. I've listened to this one so much because I remember when this came out, I think you texted me about it. So
Probably.
Did you know that?
Did you know this came out just like it was like a shadow drop, right?
It was a shadow drop, but I think he dropped a. He
did do some publicity. There was a blimp and there was stencils, like Banksy stencils, like kind of all over the world kind of thing of the A logo, the Aphex Twin logo. Like he was hinting at like, I'm going to do something. And then bam, Cyro hits the scene.
Yeah, it was unexpected. And I think there was a single that was released before, but it was almost like Mini Pops 67, the first track on the album.
Yeah, it was such a great one.
It almost felt like it was like going back old school a little bit.
But I respectfully disagree. Well, maybe old school in the construction, or not the construction, but the structure and style a little bit. But the construction and the production, I felt was very modern and new and fresh. And it sparkled. It had a.
But it felt like it was influenced by that.
With LP1, with Selected Ambient Works Volume 1, you could hear the tape practically.
Yeah,
it had no compression. It was
a guy recording in his basically.
Yeah, it was at one bedroom. Mic recording in his bedroom with no acoustics.
Yeah, but no, I love this album, and I'm listening to it again.
I'm going to say this, and you can agree or disagree. I think this is where people should start. Riles, start right here. If you're going to get into Aphex Twin, which we know you will.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna say the next one.
Oh, the next one is a close second for me.
Yeah,
because I feel like here. Okay, I'm glad you brought this up. So the next outing is EP Computer Controlled Acoustic Instruments Part 2, 2015. I feel like it's misleading though. This is my second favorite thing. This is actually probably tied for first, but I don't want people to listen to this to think that the rest of his discography is like that. I feel like that's a bait and switch. And people are going to listen to Come to Daddy or something and be like, what the fuck is this? You know, you listen to computer controlled acoustic instruments and you're like, this is kind of nice, kind of trip hoppy, kind of, you know, little jungle.
Yeah.
And then you go to this other stuff and you go to this other stuff and you're like, oh my God, what acid trip am I on right now?
Well, and I forgot to mention this when we were talking about Window Liquor. A lot of people have actually heard that song. And so, like, you probably if you see the movie Grandma's Boy,
classic, love that shit.
That scene where he's
Great
in his
stoner
office, he's listening to the drop right there, the big, yeah, like he's listening to that on repeat a lot, which is the best part of the song. I love how it just builds up to that.
Where did you get your clothes? The Matrix? Yeah, no, that has so many I love that fucking movie.
Yeah, but like, no, I think, yeah, I was thinking about this one and then maybe even the one after this too. But yeah, I could see that.
Cheetah? 2016's Cheetah, you think?
I love Cheetah.
I feel like he just hit like a stride because we got I'm not going to say the huge title again. That 2015 EP, we got Cheated 2016, we got Collapse 2018, we got London and Manchester Peel Sessions 2 2019, Black Box Life Recorder 2023, London again 2023. He was just, I feel like all of these are very consistent with one another.
Yeah, and
he was in like the zone.
He was in the zone, and he was making a lot more music, and he's come out with a lot more than I even realized in a short time. And I feel bad because I don't think it's been in some cases as popular or a scene, but like Cheetah especially, and I have this, I love this. I own this in vinyl, which doesn't really make sense, but that first track sounds like a like your walk up music, like you. It's kind of cool, like you're walking in and like thinking you're really cool or something going into.
You know, when you do your AMA fights, that's usually what you pick.
This is what I listen to. Is Cheetah.
No, that's what you put on, you know, the big PA for everyone to hear while you're walking in. Yeah.
Put it in right before I'm going to fight. So
don't pull another hammy though.
I'm not.
We need you on the show.
Not to.
Yeah. Or
strain a vocal
beat
cord.
Someone almost to death. Let them tap out.
Okay. Well, I'll do that next time. I strained myself because I was doing that. So
and as Aphex Twin, this is it so far. There was a part of me that was like, I was thinking about doing the whole, you know, I'm gonna set Buck up with this question, like, do you think we're at the end, Buck? And I realized, what a dumb question, Novo. We're not we're not even close.
No, you just released something. What was it? No, this year.
Right now.
Oh my God,
as this is airing. He just dropped another thing. Yeah, that thing.
When did this come out?
Today.
It came out today.
I don't know.
I think it had in the last.
Well, when this airs,
3 days. Yeah.
What's if this airs and we're doing this joke right now and something actually does drop? It's like today. I don't know when this is going to air.
This had been in the last few days. Holy crap. Okay.
Well, are you actually looking at something online that just came out for real?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my God. See, okay, so he's never going to stop writing music.
Yeah.
When he passes away, there's going to be a posthumous we did a piece on Frank Zappa, who wrote was able to release another 90 albums after his passing.
After his passing,
it'll probably be the same thing with Aphex Twin.
Yeah,
who are we kidding?
Yeah, I can't imagine his catalog of stuff he has.
Like the catalog in the vault, we've never heard. Oh yeah,
and
it's excessive. How much stuff he makes,
and it's not uncommon.
Take a vacation, drink a pina colada, Richard.
Get out of Cornwall, man. I think you already are.
Just take a break, man.
Yeah, just put the laptop down.
That reminds me to tell you.
No, please don't.
I collected. I summarized his output from his other monikers. So 25 EPs is AFX, 1 LP and 1 EP is Polygon Window, 1 LP, 2 EPs and a comp album as Caustic Window, 1 collab album as Mike and Rich has already stated, 2 EPs as Bradley Strider, and then I stopped there because he has so many more EPs with all his other monikers. The guy is prolific, and he has influenced so many people. We already kind of talked about it. I was thinking about doing a whole legacy influence kind of segment, but he's literally influenced everyone in the game, all of them.
Yeah, even the band we talk about every time,
which we talk about way too much. We like to S their D's too.
Yeah, I won't even mention.
them. Yeah, you know who they are. We don't even need to talk about them. So we should probably tie a bow on this B. I think Buck, and tell the good people why. Should the good people study Aphex Twin, Buck?
If you like EDM, if you like electronic music, if
And
you like
IDM and ADM, our little name for it.
our forte here, like this is what we like.
That's
No,
why we
like,
cover this shit.
again, we talk a lot about pillars of either genres or just music in general.
Yeah.
This is another one.
Yep.
If you want to know music, if you want to know about this, especially if you're an electronic fan, and you want to go back to basics, this is, this is probably that third pillar that you stop
This
at.
is the guy. Yeah.
This is the guy. Yeah. Before the other two, before that, you know who I'm talking about.
Wink, wink.
Wink,
Yep.
wink. This is who you listen to. And, really Aphex Twin introduced me to a wide world of a lot of different electronic artists.
Yeah.
Talked about Boards of Canada.
Yep.
Literally because I had a Pandora station for Aphex Twin. So,
and it picked it for you. Like who's
and it picked
this?
it for us, and it was magical, and it was 2005.
Wowsies.
But no, it again, it's just one of those things. If you're a fan of music and you're a fan of just diving into the giants, this is one of them.
This is absolutely one of them. So there you have it, guys. Aphex Twin from top to bottom. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank my guest, Mr. Theodore T. Buckingham. But before we go, we got a little extra for you, a little icing on the cake, a little cherry on top with what we call the gem of the week. Before we talk gems, let's talk sponsors. Today's gems are brought to you by Zencastr. Zencastr is our go-to tool for remote podcast recordings. What's great is that you can record separate audio and video tracks, and it's all backed up on a secured cloud, so you never lose your hard work. Even better, it's easy to use, and there's nothing to download. So go to their website, zencastr.com, and use promo code Art of the Beholder, all one word, and get 30% off your first 3 months with the Pro account. Now back to the gems. It's been kind of a while since we've done one of these long form topical shows, so I have kind of a bank of gems. So I'm just going to rattle them off real quick. Is that cool with you?
Yeah.
Is that cool with you?
Go for it, man.
Okay, here I go. Guys, check out 3 Body Problem on Netflix. It's really great. St. Vincent's new album, All Born Screaming. Absolutely phenomenal.
It's on my list. I haven't checked.
Really?
No.
Nice. Metal album from Tomb Mold, The Enduring Spirit. Stand-up comedy by Hannah Einbinder, Everything Must Go. And I finally got into The Bear, the
Nice.
FX Hulu's The Bear. There may be a show in the near future. I don't know. Wink, wink. But there's a lot of artistic merit to The Bear, and guys, check it out.
Those are all great.
Thank
I'm
you.
just going to say, and Hannah Einbinder is kind of become my new crush lately.
There's something about her, man. I can't put my finger on it.
She is so
Something
funny.
about her.
And if
kind of alluring in a weird way. I can't put my finger on it.
She's.
If you're listening to this, Hannah, we'd love to have you on the show.
We would. And if you could also introduce us to Gene Smart, that would be awesome too.
Oh man, both of them
are fantastic.
If me and Buck were interviewing both Gene and Hannah, that'd be a dream come true.
I mean, I still have a crush on Gene Smart. She's a
very
fox, man.
She has aged like a fine wine.
Yeah, she's beautiful and so funny. And that's a little side gem I'll give you if you haven't watched Hacks.
Love Hacks.
Great show, great writing, very smart and funny. But I'm not going to show you up. I just have one.
No, show
just
me
one
up.
gem. No. If Lupe Fiasco. He
the new one. Yeah.
He has a new album, and I tell you what, I love this thing. It's called Samurai, and I'm really enjoying it. I think it's one of the best hip hop releases I've heard this year. So
well, shit, guys,
definitely check it out. It feels old school. If you like that old school hip hop sound and that Lupe Fiasco kind of sound, you're going to love it. So
guys, check it out. And if you like that, you can of course check us out at NovoDayProductions.com. You can always follow us at _Novo_Day, and Day is DE, and at AOTB podcast or .podcast. Like, subscribe, do all the things. You know what to do. Don't forget to rate and review. And if you'd like to sponsor a little love child or be on the show, you can reach out to us at novodayproductions@gmail.com. So until next time, you know what to do. We'll see you in the next one. But until then, good luck and Godspeed. We love you.
Art of the Beholder is brought to you by Novo Day Productions. Created and hosted by Novo Day and the Novo Day Collective. Facebook.com/Novo Day Media, at Novo Day Media on Twitter and Instagram. Music by A Company. Facebook.com/ACOMusic123, ACO on Spotify. Logo design by Tom Gestus, Jestus, of thejusticecompany.com. All rights reserved.
I will eat your soul.